Tens of thousands of students who've now got higher A-level grades after the government's U-turn yesterday have spent the day scrambling for university places. With so many courses already full, some students remain unsure about their academic futures. The government has said it will help universities to find places for them. Ministers were forced to abandon the exam regulator Ofqual's computer modelling for A-level and GCSE results after an outcry when 40% of entries were downgraded. Wales and Northern Ireland also reversed their policies. Our education editor Branwen Jeffreys has the latest.
Natasha wants to study medicine. She's got top grades from her teachers, but still hasn't got a place after being rejected on last week's results.
I'm very pleased about the U-turn that the government has made because I feel a lot more secure now in my future. However, it's been a very stressful couple of days because I thought I hadn't gone into university and I've been working for this for a very long time.
Trying to keep calm and focused, but medicine courses are full.
Good afternoon, you're through to Manchester Metropolitan University clearing line.
All universities were taking calls today, students checking they still have a place. This university says it will honour offers made last week and those for students who now have the grades.
The legal situation I don't think is entirely clear, but my understanding is if you were made an offer and you've met that offer, then universities will be obliged to admit those students. That is right, fair and proper, and that's certainly what we're doing at Manchester Met. I think it's more challenging if you haven't had an offer but you want to apply now through clearing on the basis of the teacher assessed grades. I think that situation is less certain.
He says students need to weigh up their options.
Talk to your school or college, talk to the universities, but really, do we really want students to put their life on hold? They've been through a lot over the last few months.
Universities say they'd like to be more flexible, but they need the government's help. Here, they'd like to offer more places for teachers to train. At other universities, more places for medicine. But even if they get some extra leeway, it's far from clear that every student that wants their first choice place will be able to have it this year. Since results day, there have been fears for some. Bright students in poorer areas were downgraded. They might not be able to afford to wait a year or have anyone in their family to advise. Today, a warning, they must not be the losers.
This is a serious risk, and I think all of us are determined to try and prevent these unprecedented circumstances from having the most impact on the students who can least afford to navigate their way through it and the least able to navigate their way through it.
While universities work out how to fit more in, ministers said they weren't to blame for the chaos, insisting they acted as soon as possible.
Over the last few days, it has arisen and really been highlighted, both locally to me as an MP, but also nationally as a minister, that there are a number of anomalies in that algorithm. And I think we made the right decision yesterday because actually students come first and we can't carry on with a system that is grossly unfair.
It's just a few weeks until students arrive, but the political fallout from this year's grades fiasco could last much longer. Branwen Jeffreys, BBC News.
Well, as Branwen said there, questions have been swirling about just who is responsible for the situation, with the Education Secretary Gavin Williamson today sidestepping questions about whether he will resign. Our chief political correspondent Vicki Young is in Westminster for us now. So, Vicki, is the blame being shifted around for this?
Well, I think it is. I mean, what we've had today is a lot of apologies, but I'm not sure that's going to be much comfort to those trying to deal with the fallout of all of this. The Education Secretary has been trying to explain why it all went so badly wrong, and he's clearly pinning it on the exam regulator for coming up with what he calls an unfair system. Now, Labour say that is him simply trying to shift the blame away from himself, when really he should have seen that there was trouble coming some time ago. They point to a report from a committee of MPs several weeks ago flagging up some of these issues. Now, I think listening there to some of the problems that universities are facing today is a real reminder that governing at the moment is a lot like firefighting. They deal with one problem, dealing with those grades people were so unhappy about, but it is throwing up lots of other issues which could last for quite some time. As for Gavin Williamson himself, well, he is staying in his job. Maybe that shouldn't be too much of a surprise. This government has shown over the last few months it does like to hang on to its ministers and its advisers, even when they're under tremendous pressure. And I think the criticism from Tory MPs, well, that has subsided since the U-turn. But I think many think if a reshuffle were to come along anytime soon, then Mr Williamson could be in trouble.
Vicki, thank you. Vicki Young there in Westminster.